This is your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask with your host, Dr. Judith Briles, on the Rockstar Radio Network. On the show today, you'll find out where book publishing is going and how to take advantage of it. How to identify and avoid publishing predators. What opportunities are emerging as the book trade evolves in new forms. How to avoid losing money, and much, much more. Join us now as a variety of publishing pros will deliver insights and strategies to take the author to the next level of publishing. It's your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. Brought to you by Author You and the Book Shepherd on the Rockstar Radio Network. And now, here's your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Well, how would you like to write a book, create the book, produce the book, print the book using somebody else's money and not having to pay it back? That's what we're going to be talking about today. The whole process of what's called crowdfunding, or some people call it cloud funding. And certainly the big giant in the sky is Kickstarter.com. So we're going to be focusing this hour on what drives an author to use this as a method of underwriting their book. One could be, I don't have the money, or other could be, maybe I want to involve the global community in getting involved. And we've got someone with us as our guest who's really going through that process right now. Dianne Maroney is a clinical nurse specialist. Her career is focused actually on neonatal nursing and energy psychology for over 25 years. 2 years ago, she began a book project titled The Imagine Project, Ordinary People, Extraordinary Stories. It's an inspired photography storybook about seemingly ordinary people with just really extraordinary stories. Dianne's worked on self-publishing this book. She's chosen that method because the production costs are so high for a photography-style coffee table book that she's currently running through the crowdfunding campaign and on Kickstarter.com. The book's planning on being available next March, and we'd like to welcome her. Hi, Dianne. How are you?
Hi, Judith. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. On this fall day, at least when we're live on fall.
Yeah,
time.
I know, it's a beautiful day.
All right, so let's get into really about what Kickstarter is, and I want to get into the ups and downs and the hiccups you've had, and maybe some things you might do over if you had it to do all over again, and where we are. And of course, we want to let our listeners know exactly how they can find it, because my understanding, the project is still open, correct?
It's still open. We have 4 days left, and we're 90% funded, which is awesome.
That is exciting.
I know. It's really exciting.
Okay, so let's go there and let's talk about, so what is Kickstarter, and why did you select Kickstarter over some of the other options that are out there dealing with crowdfunding?
Well, Kickstarter is a crowdfunding program that does creative projects. They do music, they do film, they do inventions, they do video games, and a lot of book publishing. So it's a number one way to do, number one site for crowdfunding out there. So that's why I picked it. It's a little bit more challenging in some ways because it's all or nothing. So you set a goal, and if you don't reach it, you don't get any money. If you reach it, you get all the money. But it's more well-known than a lot of the other sites. So that's why we picked it.
Let me ask you this. What if you're seeing, maybe I won't make that goal. Can you go in and reduce the amount of monies that you...
No.
You can't. So it's an all or nothing type of thing.
It's all or nothing, yeah. There's you can't change the length of time, you can't change your goal, and you can't change the pledge amounts. You can add pledge amounts, but if somebody's already pledged in one of the categories, then you can't change that. Those are the 3 rules that you have to follow.
All right. Are you able to go out to people who have pledged and say, "Oh, I'm almost there. Could you goose me up a little bit?"
Absolutely.
You can.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. So it takes a lot of marketing. All
right. So let's get into this. How difficult is it to create this Kickstarter campaign?
In all honesty, it's not that hard. It's time consuming, and probably the hardest part is the video. And but you can do a video on your phone. It doesn't have to be a really fancy video. Fortunately, my son does some film and some videos and writes music, and so he did the video for me. We originally tried to do a cartoon, animation video, not cartoon, but an animation video, and that didn't work. So then we switched to a typical video, and that was the most time-consuming and the most difficult to try to figure out how you want to convey your message. Mm-hmm. And, there are certain things that on Kickstarter, they describe what are the best things that you need to do for your video. And one of them is naming the project right off the bat and telling people what it's about. Actually asking for money. I think we were too soft in asking for money at the end. That's what I've been told now. And, just creating it. But it can be, if the length is important, not longer than 5 minutes, between 2 and 5 minutes, because people get distracted and bored. Ours is about 2.5 minutes, and I think it shows how much, 62% of the people have only watched it to completion. So even at 2.5 minutes, they get bored with it. And it's a pretty compelling video.
What? It is. I've watched it a couple times. And so what's important is to hear what you just said, is that you were too soft, maybe, in asking for money, and you waited toward the end. So you have to do that up front. And maybe it's kind of a thought when you see some of these campaigns that go on, and that you see these gifts that they go with, some of the bestseller campaigns for books that we all have seen, and they go on in perpetuity. But if you see them, they have collect your gifts now or buy now, and it's woven throughout that message, so that if you get to a point, I'm done, I'm going to go for it, you can go ahead without struggling and having to scroll on down. So I think that what you're saying with the video presentation, it's the same concept.
Absolutely. It's really important to they say, to connect with who you are, the creator of the video, the creator of the project, to make sure you show your face, make sure you talk. We did voiceover. I didn't talk directly, which worked out really well. But, introduce yourself, let them know who you are, and let that come through the video. And you can do it with humor. You can do it any way you want. We did it with emotion. And, but be really sure that in the beginning you tell them what you're doing, you ask right away, and at the end you ask again. So that's important.
Oh, Dianne, that's just typical sales.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But, I'm not a salesperson. I'm a nurse. So it was all a learning process for me, So just other people can know, if they don't know, like I didn't know, that how important it is. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, here's something else, though, for our listeners they need to understand in the video making, that you had said that you started off with creating more of an animated type thing, and I actually, have journeyed with you in this process.
Absolutely.
And watched it, and I really felt that it was so wrong to go down that path. Mm-hmm. Because to me, this is an emotional string, and for our listeners, when they get the opportunity to see this book, it is so gorgeous, and the photos are so fabulous that you really do. It's a serious book. It's not frivolous, and I think that when you think of animation, it's either humorous or there's a frivolous side for it. It's not the dead serious type of thing, the chewy stuff. And your book is a chewy book.
And I'll tell you what I was told and why we did the animation. So because, first of all, Mario, my photographer that's working with me on the book, is 25. My son is 25. The animator was 25. And they all said, oh, yes, you can do emotion with animation. Don't worry. It's going to be great. It's going to be perfect. You can pull out the emotion. Well, I in my gut, I felt like they were wrong. But they worked me and tried to convince me that I was right, that they were right and I was wrong, and I should have followed my gut. So that's a huge thing. Follow your gut, and with any piece of it, follow your gut and listen to what your gut says versus what necessarily everybody else is telling you.
Well, here's another part of what you've just said, that the other parts of the team were kids. I mean, anyone under 35 is a kid to me these days.
Yeah.
But but they're kids, and the reader of this book, the buyer of the book, is not going to be a kid.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
They are going to be well over 45, 50. It's going to have all kinds of things. So I think for our listeners, really need to understand that when you're going toward it, you really need to be able to grab the people who are going to be your primary buyers. And that, I've had this experience a lot of times in publicity, that someone gets involved in the publicity can that really doesn't get who the buyer is.
Mm-hmm. And my buyer it's more of a 35 to maybe 70-year-old woman. Some men will buy it, but and that doesn't fit with animation. And again, my gut told me that, but unfortunately, I let my son and Mario override that temporarily.
But we got that taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we did.
So the follow the gut is absolutely imperative, and understand your buyer. And in fact, the people who are going to probably, I suspect, who supported this project are also your buyer. Yes.
Yeah, and I think there's some that aren't. So the people that back you, that's an interesting piece. I had this kind of naive perception that anybody that saw my video would just love it and immediately back it. And it really isn't always the case. And I think, first of all, you pull on your friends, neighbors, family, who, are primary, who give you money. And I have a friend who did a Kickstarter video on a book, and she knew only like 3 people. She didn't know all but 3. What am I saying? There was 3 people she didn't know that gave to the book, and the rest of them she knew. Now, for me, I started out with all the people that I knew, and it was great. But then you reach a point where they're done. There are no more people that can give you money. Even though I'm from Denver, I have quite the basis that I can pull from. Mm-hmm. So then you have to figure out, where's the next step? Where's the next phase come from? How can you get the word out there and draw from people who are going to be interested in your project?
Mm-hmm. Well,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, here's what I would like you to do. We've got 30 seconds to our first break, but here's what I'd love you to do, is that I want you to give the site so they can go to and involve with it. And I want you to email me that, because I will tweet it to my 20,000 followers.
Awesome.
And who knows, something might come, but that's what you have to do.
That's great.
And for our listeners, that's what you have to do. You reach out to everybody and you just ask. This is sales. And here we come. We'll take a quick break, and we're going to come back and do this. This is Judith Briles. My guest today is Dianne Maroney. We're talking about Kickstarter.com and crowdfunding. You're listening to Your Guide to Book Publishing.
This is Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these on the Rockstar Radio Network.
Is there a book in you or another? Author U will show you how to create, develop, and publish your book without being hoodwinked. If you already have a book out, you'll find a supportive and brainstorming community that's connected and creative no matter where you live. Author U brings in national experts for its book camps and annual author extravaganza held each May. It has regular meetings and delivers webinars for its members on timely topics. Through Author U's extensive network, members enjoy exclusive benefits, including significant discounts for a variety of services necessary to publishing. The Resource, its online book publishing news magazine, is content-heavy and it's free. If you want to create a book that has pizzazz, punch, and panache, Author U is for you. If you're a hobbyist or a casual author, it's not. Join Author U today through its website at authoru.org. Follow Author U on Twitter at Author U and on Facebook at Author U, where timely author and publishing tips and articles are posted daily. Author U, where the author goes to become seriously successful.
Do you sell stuff? Do you want to sell books? Lots of them? If yes, you must take credit cards, the most widely used form of payment today. The Free Terminal has created a special program for your guide to book publishing listeners. No contract, all equipment is free, extremely low rates, and no termination fees ever. Contact Alan Dean at allen@thefreeterminal.com or call him at 303-668-6828. The Free Terminal has handled all credit card transactions for both Author You and Judith for over a year. Don't wait another day. Contact Alan at thefreeterminal.com or call 303-668-6828 and tell him you want the no contract Author You deal.
Every picture tells a story, and it's a truism that people do judge a book by its cover. Nick Sellinger and NZ Graphics have been in the business of producing superior graphic cover design and interior layout for self-published authors, independent and traditional publishers for years. He has developed a reputation for excellent work, fast turnarounds, and best of all, affordable pricing. NZ Graphics also produces ebooks and book marketing materials such as posters, sell sheets, postcards, bookmarks, business cards, logos, and more. Books designed for his clients have won multiple book awards, including Best Book Award by U.S. Book News, multiple Evie Awards from the Colorado Independent Publishers Association, Indie Book Awards, the San Francisco Book Festival Award, and Freedom Medal Award from Valley Forge. Visit www.nzgraphics.com or call 303-985-4174 for more details about making your book the success it should be. Mention that you are an FOJ, friend of Judith's, and that you heard about NZ Graphics on your guide to book publishing.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask on the Rockstar Radio Network. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
All right, well, we're back talking about Kickstarter.com. With us is Dianne Maroney. She is currently working on the Imagine project, Ordinary People, Extraordinary Stories. And if you listen to this before Monday, which is going to be the 28th, I don't know when it, because Monday the 19th. See, I'm jumping ahead. I don't know where in the heck I am, but Monday the 19th. That is it midnight, Dianne? All right, so Monday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Is that Eastern?
Mountain Standard Time.
Okay, so it's midnight Eastern Time on Monday that we're going to give you a website. But if you want to, first of all, explore what her project is. She is 90% to completion. And with Kickstarter.com, what we were talking about is that if it's an all or none, you have to have 100%. You can go over. Seth Golden actually raised $1 gazillion on his. He was working for $40,000 and he got something like $200,000, which is absurd. Yeah. He needs the money like you and I need another toe on our foot.
Yeah.
And but anyway, it's an all or none basis with Kickstarter.com. So if you get into that if you see a project that's just really fabulous, and I wanted Dianne on because I knew she was close to her goal. I knew that she was close to her expiration time, and I know that it's a fabulous project, and I wanted people to hear about it, and also what she has gone through in the whole spiel. So we spent some time talking about the video and making sure that the video is done, that it matches the project, as well as it really does match who's going to be the potential buyer, who's going to have their strings pulled to say, oh my God, I have to be involved with this, and I'm going to buy this book. Because one of the things, how many people, Dianne, have participated? The number, do you know?
We have 123 backers. We've had 708 people look at the video.
Okay, so we have 123 backers for sure. Guess what? Those people are all going to be buying the book. and getting involved. And that's really good to know. And when you're doing book publishing, one of the things that I've always felt, and I really stress it in my book called Show Me About Book Publishing, is that you need to understand the dollars and cents of your project, which Dianne has really laid out. This is what our cost is going to be. We have this photography, we've got these layouts. It's a very expensive book when you're into color and the intensity of the photographs. It's a big book. It's a coffee table book, and it costs more money, period. So she's looking for a little bit of help here and putting it together, and they put their budget together. So now they can really go forward and create the book, the masterpiece, which is what they want. And I know when I first looked at the pictures that Mario had done, I was just overwhelmed with the beauty of them and the intensity. I mean, I had to touch them and all that. So
it's definitely a book you can feel when you hold it. Definitely a book you can feel.
So Dianne, when people go to Kickstarter, let's just tell them where to go there. It's a long address, so we probably don't want to give that on home. But if they just go to Kickstarter.com, what do they look up?
Then you go to search projects. And you can either search my name, Dianne Maroney, or you can search the Imagine Project, and it'll come up. And then you click, there's, I think, like 4 different things you might see on the page, and you just click on the Imagine Project.
All right, and Dianne is with 2 N's, everyone. So it's DianneMaroney, and then the Imagine Project. But I would certainly encourage you, if you're listening to this podcast before the 19th at midnight Eastern Standard Time, get involved and support a fabulous book that's coming along. All right, so let's jump back to this. What would you do differently if you were to do this over again?
Yeah, well, we talked about how I would do the video a little bit differently. I mean, I really love the way the video came out, but I would ask more strongly in the video. And then I think I would change a little bit of the pledges. So they say on the pledges, you can make as many pledges as you want. And they recommend that you do at least one pledge of $25 or less. Those have more success. And so I have a pledge of $1, $5, $10, $25, $50, $100, $150, $250, $500, $750, $1,000, and $1,500. And they say when people actually shop on Kickstarter, and so when you pledge. Yeah, and when you pledge something, you get something back. And what Kickstarter would like you to do is give people back make a pledge so you get a book, you should make the pledge equal what the book is going to cost. So for us, though, our book is probably going to cost around $39. It's not set in stone yet, but our pledge to get the actual book is $100. But with that, we also are giving an 8x10 photo. Now, which in Mario's world is worth another $50 because he's a high-end photographer. And so I kind of wonder if maybe we shouldn't have dropped that down to $75 or $50. The $50 one is you get the ebook. So I don't know if that was wrong or right. I have let me see. I have 37 people that have given the $100 and they want the book. So apparently it may be okay, but and if anybody's upset that it was a $39 book that they had to pay $100 for plus the photo and some other things, we would give them another book, 2 books. But I don't know if that was wrong or right. So I think everybody probably questions their pledges after they set them up to make, they're not sure what might be the right thing. But you want to make sure that you have your pledges equal to whatever they are getting, the value of whatever they are receiving when they pledge.
All right, so that's an important tip.
Yeah.
Tips on how to create and how to and you have everything from a heartfelt thank you. I always loved that one.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Well, yeah.
We want to put that on every single one, so we just put it on the dollar one because it's true. You're very grateful for anything that you get, you know.
Now, did you repeat on your pledges as you increased, like going up to the $1,500 one? And why don't you tell your listeners, tell our listeners what the $1,500 one would encompass?
Okay. The $1,500 one is, my son wrote a song for the video, and you can begin to get that at $5. But then for $1,500 you get personalized dedication signed copies of the book. We list your name in the appreciation page of the book, and then Mario will do a destination shoot. He'll come to you to do the photo shoot, and you receive a 20 by 30 canvas or fine art print from the photo shoot, which for Mario is a great deal because he's a pretty expensive photographer. And he's awesome at what he does, and everybody loves his work when they receive their photos of his. So, and then there's a $1,000 one where we're having a celebration party. So we, you know, that's a lot of money to come to a celebration party, but you also receive the 6 books and the sign, you know, the dedication copies. And so it's, you know what's really good is if you go to projects on Kickstarter that are like yours, I found a couple of books that were similar to mine, and I kind of followed how she did it. One book in particular that was about couples who have been married 50 years. It was just a beautiful video, and she was very successful. She made about $5,000 more than what her goal was. And so I just felt like she had done a really good job, so I tried to kind of mimic hers a little bit. And they recommend you to do that. You go to another site or another project that's similar to yours and kind of copy it a little bit, learn from it.
And so they keep old projects on the site that people can evaluate and
yes,
look at?
They do.
Great. All right,
yeah.
So that's a great tip. So,
yes.
and there, you never underestimate the value of other people's success. That's what the takeaway here. And that don't just be shameless and steal everything you can here. I mean, steal maybe is the wrong word.
I think it's true. I mean, I don't care if somebody mimics mine.
Yeah,
you know?
Mimic. Look what other people are doing who are similar, who are being successful. What did they throw out? How did they pitch it? Watch it. And I mentioned Seth Golden earlier. For heaven's sakes, watch what he did. I mean, he's got a huge following. Yeah. You've got that. But all right. So we've got that going. So the cloning the other projects was way to go, and so it really wasn't that difficult. The biggest thing was getting the video done. Is that correct?
Yeah. And you do have a couple of little, I mean, it's a step-by-step process. I started mine back in March. I signed up for Kickstarter and said I wanted to start a project. You know, they don't bother you and say, when are you going to be done? They give you as much time as you need, and you just go back on, and piece by piece, you put them, you know, the pieces into it. For me, it was really important that I had everything edited by someone else, you know, and make sure that everything was correct and flowed well. I had quite a few different people read it.
Hold on. We're gonna go to our break here. We'll come back, and then we'll recap all this. This is Judith Briles. You're listening to Your Guide to Book Publishing. Joining us as we open up will be Dave Raymond from Thompson Shore with a couple of printing tips, and then we'll be back with Dianne Maroney and Kickstarter.com.
This is Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these on the Rockstar Radio Network.
Since 1987, Color House Graphics has set the standard for quality book production. Whether you decide to print a small quantity of books or need a large print run, depend on Color House to help you. You'll receive professional help and advice the moment you reach one of our representatives. If you mention hearing about us on Your Guide to Book Publishing with Judith Briles, we will provide you with a discount on the first order you place. To speak with a project manager, call us toll-free at 800-454-1916 or visit us at www.colorhousegraphics.com.
Do you need postcards that make a statement? How about business cards, flyers, brochures, or NCR forms? 2Vets is the solution for all your printing needs. Providing services specially designed for authors, we deliver exceptional quality colored printing. Most important of all, we specialize in reducing your printing costs. No more waiting. No more standing in lines at your local printer. Online proofing. With our pricing tools calculator, you can get instant quotes on all your printing products, as well as shipping rates all over the United States. Just a few clicks of the mouse and you're on the way to discovering how easy and convenient online color printing should be. Contact our friendly, human account representatives. We recognize that you want answers, not voice prompts. Visit our website at www.tu-vets.com or call 1-800-894-8977.
When Ned Thompson and Harry Shore started Thompson Shore in 1972, they believed employees with great character would make up the best company. They were right. They hired people who were not only experts in bookmaking, but who were obsessed with quality and delivering exceptional customer service. Almost 40 years later, Thompson Shore remains a 100% employee-owned company. Ned and Harry knew that successful customer projects are a direct result of empowered employees. We specialize in all books for large and small publishers, creating beautiful and well-made books. We're dedicated to pleasing our customers by making the experience a good one from start to finish. The personal touch we have with our customers allows us to be innovative in solving their most difficult challenges. Our platform also ensures that we can remain flexible to meet our customers' unique needs and expectations. Our marketing kit can create buzz for your title, enhancing the promotion of your book during infancy. When you need to test the market to gauge your future sales, we can provide digitally printed books that will transition seamlessly into a larger offset run. From ebook to hard copy to delivery, our skillful customer service teams are at the ready to answer your most pressing question. At Thompson Shore, we know that making the highest quality books requires more than just best technologies. It requires superior customer service, professionalism to the trade, and commitment to environmental and social values. With these standards of excellence in place, you can be sure that we will always help you put your best book forward.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask on the Rockstar Radio Network. Coming up, you'll hear more about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Well, we're back, and we always have at the bottom of the hour one of our sponsors coming on, and one of my very favorites is Dave Raymond with Thompson Shore. In fact, a fabulous tip I got from him, I thought, I'm going to do that, and he was talking about rough edges, and on you're reading a print with rough edges where the paper is not, smooth, all the same size. It's like rough, which I loved. So what do we have for us today, Dave?
Have me on, Judith. And today I want to talk about the publisher should have what I'm calling a money list.
Ah.
And the money list is simply knowing what your stable of printers, whether it be 1 or 2 or 8 to 10, do best. We all charge a little bit differently for certain things that what we call hit our sweet spot. That can range anywhere from offset printing to web press printing to digital printing. And one thing that each of us, you may have worked with 4 or 5 different printers who offer digital printing and offset printing, which they can give you prices depending upon the quantity and page count combination. They can give you an offset price and or a digital price, and you can see right there by comparing which one does the best. And put that on your money list so you know generally maybe 2 to 3 who give you the comparison, but also may give you the better price for offset printing or the better price for digital printing. And thinking about digital printing, one thing that Thompson Shore has recently done, I'm sure our competitors offer as well, is most printers will, the publisher will have a customer service representative in-house at the printer that they work with basically exclusively to find out how their job is doing, to help assist with pricing, shipping instructions, any general questions, and then call that person or email that person to find out how their job is doing. One thing from a digital printing standpoint that Thompson Shore, again, like other printers will offer as well, is we call it Digital Express. That's a system that's easily followed on our website that gets you a digitally printed book, whether it be for print on demand or something of 100 or 200 copies that you want to restore in a warehouse to have a title active. Digital printing often is the lowest price system of printing, and yet you're keeping those books in stock so that you can sell and make money on. One thing that we offer and others do too is what we call ours a Digital Express. You don't work with a customer service person. You basically go online, you could submit your files, it answers all your questions, you're not working with a human being, and you're going to save up to 10 to 20% off your bottom line bill, because basically you're doing a lot of the work yourself. We're producing the book for you, but you're not taking the time basically of one of our customer service persons or their particular team. They can do other things, so we're passing that savings on to you because you're doing the work yourself going online. Now, there's always another option of getting the same book produced digitally, but working with the customer service person. You may want to start out that way for your first or second title going this method, and then go into the Digital Express and save that money once you feel comfortable with it. So it's whatever you want to do. But again, this isn't only Thompson Shore, but there's other printers out there who offer this same option of saving money by not, working exclusively with a customer service person. You can pay by a credit card. There's many different options that allow you to save money. Mm-hmm. So again, make that money list. Another option might be one printer may, let's just for a moment just take a look at hardback binding. There's basically two types of binding, one where you sew the signatures together, and another what is called adhesive case binding. And there's no sewing involved in the adhesive case. It's often a more economical process for the printer, but some printers prefer the sewing because that's how their systems are set up. And in fact, that example exists at Thompson Shore because we deal with so many university presses as customers. They represent almost 40% of our business, and they want their hardbound books sewn. So our process in binding is developed to make a sewn case-bound book. So basically what we do is we charge the same price for sewn as we do for not case-bound book up to 3,000 copies. And then if you go over 3,000 copies, then the adhesive case binding price is a little bit less expensive than the sewn. But a lot of publishers will sell their sewn case-bound books for more than they will their adhesive case-bound books because they last longer, they're a little bit better quality, they're open up a little bit better for the reader, so a lot of readers like that. So, again, just make that money list. Another great thing to help develop this money list is to attend Judith's Author You Extravaganza. I personally will be there as an exhibitor. You're going to have another 10 to 15 printers. You can gather all their information and make your own money list in one nice conference right there. So I really encourage you to attend that. It's a lot of very good industry experts there, and we're all very excited and happy to answer your questions.
Oh, thank you so much. And Dave is right that extravaganza is May 2nd through 4th next year here in Denver, Colorado. And you really do have the exhibitors are there the full time. It's integrated, so everyone is all together. You don't go to one room to this and that. We've always really put it together that way. And you'll just find that you can get a ton of information. And actually, you bring along, those of you who haven't finished your book, bring it along and show it, your cover ideas, because I found printers have really good ideas about suggesting treatments for covers. If you have that put together, they'll make suggestions. So, Dave, thank you so much. And good information. And that money list might be a good handout for you to have at Extravaganza.
Yeah.
All right.
Judith, very much.
All right. Take care. You can get a hold of Dave Raymond at DaveR, DAVER at TShore.com if you have any questions. All right. We're back to crowdfunding. Dianne Maroney, she's got a fabulous project called the Imagine Project that is in its final 4 days as of today, the 17th, when we are first doing this show. And you can participate by going to Kickstarter.com until midnight Monday, the 19th. Is it the 19th?
Yeah.
Okay. So make sure I had that right. I don't mix up my dates. I'm just back from Spain, so I'm still kind of going, where am I and what am I doing? So anyway, let's come back and talk to what does Kickstarter charge to do this?
Kickstarter takes 5% of your your total pledges. And then Amazon, everything has to go through Amazon. Mm-hmm. All the pledges, everybody has to have an Amazon account that does a pledge. So Amazon then will take 3 to 4%, depending upon which credit card it is.
All right, so it's the normal credit card fees that go on.
Plus 5% from Kickstarter.
Okay, so here's just the thing that everyone's in charge, that whatever you raise, you're going to lose 10% of it. So you want to raise, if you think that, by God, I need $10,000, you better be raising $11,000 to cover all your costs.
Exactly.
Does that make sense? All right. So think of that way. All right. So we went a little bit long here on with some of the printing things. So we only have about 2 minutes here. So let's get into you don't get any money. And I wonder, do you know how they respond to everyone saying the project didn't go, so you're not going to be charged on your credit card? And I guess the second part of it is when people make a pledge, they actually have to have their credit card information all up via Amazon, so it gets triggered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it actually goes through Amazon, and then you get an email that says you won't be charged until the project is finished and completely funded. If the project isn't funded, then your credit card will not be charged.
All right, so you know up front.
Yeah, and then I've supported a project that didn't go through, and then I just received an email when it didn't go through saying that it hadn't made it. So basically, I wasn't charged.
All right. Well, there you go. All right. So in our 1 minute before we go to break here, is there any other way to donate besides going through Amazon?
No, they say no. They say, but what I've done, there's a couple people that really want to write a check, and they've sent me checks, so I'm just putting them in under somebody else's name.
Ah, well, that's how clever. So if anyone donates, you pick up money on the side, you can just create another name.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. They don't match the credit cards. They just match the emails. All right. We're going to come back here in just a few minutes, and we'll get back into the overall process to review it to everyone, the pros and cons, mistakes you might do, the do's and don'ts, as we segue out at the end of the program. So I'm Judith Briles. You're listening to Your Guide to Book Publishing. It's crowdfunding day.
This is Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles. And we'll be right back with more great information right after these on the Rockstar Radio Network.
Do you sell stuff? Do you want to sell books? Lots of them? If yes, you must take credit cards, the most widely used form of payment today. The free terminal has created a special program for Your Guide to Book Publishing listeners. No contract. All equipment is free. Extremely low rates and no termination fees ever. Contact Alan Dean at alan@thefreeterminal.com or call him at 303-668-6828. The Free Terminal has handled all credit card transactions for both Author You and Judith for over a year. Don't wait another day. Contact Alan at thefreeterminal.com or call 303-668-6828 and tell him you want the no contract Author You deal.
The book shepherding concept is simple. The publishing world is changing, and so must you. You need an experienced shepherd and a guide to partner with you as you create, strategize, develop, publish, and achieve your publishing goals. You can't do it alone without paying the price. You can spend your money creating a book that turns out to be so-so, or you can create a book that looks and feels classy, builds your brand, and is a financial success, a bestseller. It's your choice. You choose. You need the book shepherd. Publishing is riddled with obstacles, sometimes nightmares for the author. You don't need problems. You want solutions. Dr. Judith Briles will shepherd you through the maze and the chaos. At times, she's had to step in and rescue a book that has been sabotaged by a publisher or by a publishing service provider or sometimes even the author themselves. Judith Briles is the book shepherd if you want to create a book with no regrets. Give her a call today, 303-885-2207. That's 303-885-2207, or email her at judith@briles.com. By the way, Briles is spelled B-R-I-L-E-S. Follow Judith on Twitter at My Book Shepherd and on Facebook at The Book Shepherd.
At Total Printing Systems, customer service is our priority. We are located in Southern Illinois. Our employees have an average of 18 years experience and know that customer relationships are important to our continued success. We have been a short-run book printer for nearly 40 years and always stay at the forefront of technology. Our niche is from 1 to 5,000 copies. Today, we offer digital, black and white, and 4-color high-speed inkjet printing, a cost-effective way to introduce color into your short-run titles. We, of course, offer traditional offset printing as well. Bindery is done in-house, from adhesive case binding to PUR perfect binding to mechanical binding of all types, including side sewing. We provide warehousing, kitting, distribution, inventory management, a new print-on-demand facility, streaming browser-based ebooks, and bookstore. Call us at 1-800-465-5200 for a quote on your next book project. You can also visit our website at www.tps1.com.
Welcome back to your guide to book publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask on the Rockstar Radio Network. If you want to write and publish a book, if you want to be successful as an author, your guide to book publishing, everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask, is for you. Stay tuned and you'll hear about statistics, scenarios, and strategies on what to do now to get you published. So let's get back to the show. And here again is your host, Dr. Judith Briles.
Well, crowdfunding or cloud funding, they both get used all the time, is our topic today. And specifically, we're oriented toward Kickstarter.com. My guest is Dianne Maroney, who is right in the midst, the tail end of funding her project, the Imagine Project, which I'd encourage you to look up. And she is 90% there, so we're all going to be banging the doors to succeed with this, just final going over the edge. And that it's important to understand timing on that. And Dianne, what does Kickstarter recommend that you normally run a project?
They recommend 30 days. And I agree with them, actually. I ran mine for 35 days. I think they give you at least 60 days if you want it. Mm-hmm. But I did 35 days because I just felt like I needed those extra 5 days. And, you know, the reason why they say 30 days is because it creates a sense of urgency. And my project ran over the course of the election, and it was flat over that period of time. And I just kind of stopped asking during that time because people were so distracted. Mm-hmm. So keeping in mind what time of year you're running it is important, too. I wouldn't recommend it necessarily over Christmas time. And, you know, the summertime is good, I think, and the early part of the year is good. But 30 days it creates a sense of urgency because people forget about it. They think, oh, I have 35 days, and then they'll say, oh, it's 3 weeks is over already. and then they start thinking about it again.
So that was very smart of you then to avoid the election on that. So on the money, the cost is going to be at 10% roughly total fees. We have that into play, and that be tuned into that. And one of the things I think that it's important to bring up for this is that it does bring up that people they wonder why Kickstarter is an all or nothing funding. And the fact is, there's less risk for someone because you don't want to try to raise $10,000 for an example, and let's say you only get $3,000. If you really needed $10,000, the odds of this project going through is not good, and that those people who did that cumulative $3,000 are probably going to have their money kissed off. So it's really less risk for you as the person who's participating, and it's really less risk for you as the person who's asking, because, if you don't succeed, if you don't deliver what you're saying you deliver, there's got to be a little guilt here. There's got to be really remorse, and you're going to feel horrible with dealing with that. So I think that's probably a good thing.
Yes, and I might mention that they say about 47% of the projects are successful. But if you make it to 20% funded, then you have an 80% chance of being successful. And so it really does require a lot of work in marketing. Once you have it up and running, you have got to just stay on your toes and keep asking and talking and making connections and doing as much as you can to get the word out there about it. Just keep asking.
So, Dianne, why don't you go through, in our last few minutes here, why don't you go through some of those things that you did to get the word out? That's really important information to know.
Yeah, and the first time I sent like a mass email to anybody in my email list, which is about 250 people I sent to one email. And I think people were so overwhelmed at the amount of people that I sent it to that a lot of them just didn't even look at it.
So here's what we need to say for our listeners. You don't send it with everyone's email showing, do blind copies.
Yeah,
and if you can't figure out to do it, just send it to yourself. Number one, they know who it's coming through and they recognize it, and they probably will get it. You're doing a blind copy, but at least you don't get polluted. And so do that. Yeah. Okay.
And set them, and you could send it in smaller sets too. And so you can be more personable in your email and ask. Don't assume that they know that they're supposed to give you something. A lot of people said, I clicked on your video. Was that what you needed? And so I wasn't clear enough. And then I explained in the future emails, I explained what exactly it was and why I needed it, why I was asking for so much money during self-publishing. People don't understand. Why do you need money to self-publish? Aren't you just going to make money? So I explained that. Yeah. And I had to do that. And emails is the absolute best thing to do. Unless you can get on television, unless you can get on the radio, which I am now, which is fabulous. And, but Twitter is also good, and Facebook helps. It helps, but it's not the number one thing. Email is actually the number one thing, in my opinion. And just making phone calls, talking to people, promoting it as much as you can, one-on-one contact. And email is more of a one-on-one contact. That's why it works best.
So it was email from your personal list, though. That's where you started. Did you have other people, Dianne, who actually then spread it with their list? Did you kind of try to partner with people?
I did. Fortunately for me, there's 40 people in the book that are featured in the book, and I asked each one of those people to, ask other people. And there were some people that didn't. They didn't do it at all. They didn't feel, they have their own organizations, and they didn't really want to promote something else besides their organization. And there were some people that just went crazy and asked everybody and really were able to get me some support. So you're not quite sure who's going to be able to help you and who won't. So you just kind of don't assume that everybody's going to help you, but just keep asking. And I contacted the newspapers. You try to contact the TV. I am getting a newspaper article coming out next week. They think it's probably going to come out after the Kickstarter is finished, unfortunately, but they want it to come out on Thanksgiving because of the format of the book, the type of book that it is. So just keep working it.
Hopefully they'll do another article when the real book is available.
Yes, I hope so too. I think so.
Me too on that. All right, so let's kind of do a recap of what the overall process entailed. How long did you put into it? You've been successful, so it just says, I love the stat you just gave us. If you reach 20% of your funding, you 80% make it. I think that's extraordinary cool to know. And that also the 47%. Ooh, where did we hear that 47% during the election?
Yeah.
but also wise advice. Don't do things during holidays or key elections or when people are going to be going away. So you probably want to, I would probably want to stay away over. So the 4th of July, I would stay away from President's Weekend just because people are gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or President's Week, I guess they call it now. But
yeah. And I didn't even think about the election. Didn't even think that it might be a factor, but it definitely was a factor.
All right.
So really think about it, plan it out, and really be aware of the best time. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So some other recapping do's or don'ts in putting this together. So and Dianne, would you recommend people do it?
Yes, absolutely. It's kind of stressful. It's a stressful month. And you do a lot of emotional growth, to tell you the truth. There's a lot of things emotionally that come up. The expectations that some people meet and some people don't, the understanding of how all of this works. It's a learning curve, definitely a learning curve for probably most people. I really would recommend it. I mean, it's been a great experience. I was very stressed during the middle of it when it was flat, but I just kept thinking positive and saying, okay, what do I do next? And kept going and didn't give up, where I think some people give up. And that's part of the reason why they are not funded. You just have to really work at it.
So how much time did you think you put in to your marketing? I mean, you're doing emails. So are you sending out multiple emails during the day or?
Yeah. I put quite a bit of time, and it's mixed in with working on the book because the book's not 100% complete yet. So a lot. It's hard to say. 10 to 15 hours a week, maybe. I mean, but not every week. It just depends. During this period of time, yes, I'm very focused on it, and I'm sending out a lot of emails and really trying to think about what I can do next. Mm-hmm. Overall, it's taken me about 3 months probably to really finish it, but it just depends upon who's doing your video and how fast you can get it done. Mm-hmm. It doesn't take long. You need a week. One thing you need to know is that you need a week. Notice before you want to kick it off to get Amazon account set up. Mine didn't take a week, but they say give yourself a week. Kickstarter has to approve it, which for me only took a day or two. So there's a couple, days or weeks in there that you may not get it up on the exact day that you think. So plan for that. Give yourself another week or two before the date that you actually want to kick it off. And,
so what you do is you need to, for our listeners, what they need to do is put together all their content, get everything, get their gifts lined up, what they're going to be, because you don't want to be processing as you're going along. You want to have this so you can do some copy, paste.
Yes.
You want to, other pictures that you might add in that might enhance it. You want to have that video done, and Dianne does have a high-end video, but as she said, you can use your phone to do a video.
You should watch some of the videos. There's one that I recommend everybody watch that is really funny and so successful. It's called The Dollar Shaver. And
The Dollar Shave.
Yeah, it's only a minute to a minute and a half long, and it's funny, and he has been incredibly successful.
So video, less than 2 minutes if you can do it, right?
Yes. People, their attention span, I would say a minute to 2 minutes if you can.
Perfect. All right. So we're going to wrap up here. I want to thank Dianne Maroney for participating. We're in our last minute here. And what I want you all to do is, if you're listening to it, go and look at the Imagine Project, whether we're past the campaign or not, and you can see what she did in putting together the process, from the gifts being offered, the thank yous being offered, from the video she put together, from the language that she used. It's all top notch. I'm Judith Briles. You're welcome. I'm Judith Briles. You're listening to Your Guide to Book Publishing. We'll be with you again. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Thank you for being a part of Your Guide to Book Publishing. Everything you want to know but didn't know what to ask. With your host, Dr. Judith Briles.